What's up, George? How you doing?
What's happening, Leroy?
We're here to review a book, are we not?
We're here to review three books,
Well, three books, yes.
three
Which
out of
what are
six.
three out of six? What are they?
We're doing War Party issues 1 through 3 by Professor Murph today.
Justin Murphy, that is right. So how do we usually do this?
We have three categories that we go with: story,
Mm-hmm.
which includes obviously the plot, the dialogue, lettering, editing. We
Mm-hmm.
do then art, which is obviously all the line work and colors, and then the last category is book quality, so like paper stock and so forth.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what are we going to do first?
Let's start with the story,
All
just
right.
very basically.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You
well,
start
just
first.
yeah. Let me just give it a little quick synopsis. This book takes place during the French Indian War.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously historical fiction. It takes place. There is a main character whose daughter is kidnapped, and he tries to get her back,
Mm-hmm.
and in doing so runs afoul of some villainous characters. He's injured, and then he's nursed back to health by a character that we know previously that we've seen in the campaign as Diani. She
Mm-hmm.
was pretty heavily featured in the campaign, and gets these mystical powers and becomes the creature that you see on screen right now.
Yes.
So it's only the first three issues.
Mm-hmm.
Issues 4 through 6 will come at a later date, but quite a bit has happened so far in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the story was well paced. I liked the plot of it, and I liked the direction it was going. My biggest complaint at the moment right now is it's incomplete because we only have the first three issues.
Right.
What
That's
did you?
is that. So yeah, I like the story overall. I have like there is one stickling point to me. We meet our main protagonist. We don't meet him, but we see him in a jail. With a couple of his buddies in a brig, if you will,
Hmm.
and they end up being locked in there with this guy that's being charged for adultery for sleeping with his commanding officer's wife.
Hmm.
After that, they escape the jail and whatever. But it turns out at the end that they're going to give everybody these powers, including that guy, and that made no sense to me, George. Like, why would you don't know this guy, and you're gonna he's been sleeping around, and he was reveling in it in the book. He was, and now you're just gonna go ahead and give him these powers? Like, it doesn't make sense.
He hasn't been given the powers yet, so you don't know what's going to happen in the next issue.
That's
Maybe
true. That's
maybe he's
true.
setting something up.
And that might be, that very well might be the case, but I
Mhm.
can only go by what's in front of us now. So
Understood.
yeah.
There's a few things in this book I really liked as far as story wise. One, if you don't mind pulling up that second photo I sent you,
Hmm.
each issue starts with a quick synopsis on the interior cover, just telling you what's happened. Like in this case, it's a brief synopsis prior to the first issue, setting the stage for the timeline and so forth. And then each issue after this kind of summarizes what happened previously. So it gives the reader some detail. I really like that he did this.
Hmm.
You don't see this very often, and it was much appreciated. I think some of the details that are missing might have been in the issue 0, which I don't think has been released yet. I didn't order it, but maybe that is in there. But it was nice that he added this in here.
Hmm. I would agree. I like it. I really enjoyed it, every one of them. And then he does. Let's not forget what happened before, kind of like before each issue.
Hmm.
Like, no, of course, I sat down and read all three. Read all three, but it's nice that he did that. I would agree.
Also, you've mentioned in the past that we need to shout out moments when the editing is top quality. And in this case, I saw nothing as far as the dialogue or the word balloons or anything that jumped out at me as an egregious error. I actually thought it was very well done.
Hmm. Yeah. So this story is near and dear to my heart too because it takes place in my neck of the woods, which is kind of cool too. So I mean, personal points for me for that.
Hmm.
So there is when we get to the art, I want to pull up a panel that you sent, but
Hmm.
and we'll cover it again during the
Hmm.
art. But this is kind of what makes the story come alive to me. What is this one?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you can actually see him dragging this chick like by the hair down a river. Like it's so good. Like I like this panel a lot.
Hmm.
Other than one detail which we're going to address,
Hmm.
but there's lots of these panels like this throughout the book where the action, the way he draws the action, it really works for me, George.
Agreed.
And and I'm not. You could say it's art, but I think it really adds to the overall telling of the story. You know.
Hmm.
So there you go. What do you give it?
I gave the story alone a B plus.
Yeah, I'm there, a B plus. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. So, um, yeah, I can't. I want to know. I want the next three issues to find out what happens.
Ex-
Obviously,
Obviously, our grades are incomplete until we get issues 4 through 6. But from what I've seen so far, I do like it.
well, we could just give the grades B plus for issues 1 through 3. I wouldn't say it's incomplete. These
Fair
are
enough.
these are built as single floppy issues. So
Fair enough.
there you go. All right, let's get in the art, George. What did you think?
The art, I thought, how can I put it best? It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
There were moments where I really enjoyed what I saw, and there were other moments I did not. Uh, Professor Murph obviously has some strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and he has some weaknesses. I don't think his weaknesses are his own only. I think a lot of folks struggle with drawing anatomy. I think drawing faces and hands and feet are extraordinarily hard for any artist. And it was clear to me that it was a little difficult for him as well. There were some moments in the book where I thought the art was a bit lacking. Now, when it was the beasts, I thought it was phenomenal. When there was huge action sequences, when there was flames and fire and all kinds of explosions, I thought that was great. But when it was characters talking, I thought at moments it was deficient.
A little cartoony, I think.
Hmm.
I would say. Would you disagree?
I would not disagree.
Mm-hmm. You got some examples you wanted to pull up.
Yeah, and I don't know where the issue here lies. Is this part of the editing? Is this part of the art? I put it in part with the art, but in this hero, in this one panel, this character that we see here dragging in the water, you can see her right leg there, but she has toes on a left foot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like that that I catch that I wonder, is this something the editor should have caught? Or is this something the artist should have caught? I put it with the art. I view the editor as copy editing only, which means just reviewing a dialogue script and nothing else. That's how I am viewing it. I could be wrong. I really don't know. But then
Mm-hmm.
there's pages like you just showed, the one afterwards,
Yeah.
where that double page spread there. I really like the looks of this page. I like the angle of that shot. I like the perspective on it. The character looks great. So it goes back and forth. Unfortunately, what I struggle with here sometimes is seeing everything because the colors
The
kind of,
colors are a bit muddy, yeah. So
yeah.
it would really help him if he introduced a light source somewhere. I would agree with you. Yes.
But
Yeah.
still, I like this perspective quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this page, this is once again, I get back to the facial features, which I just thought just weren't his strength. And
Right.
unfortunately, this is a book where you don't have a bunch of characters and masks.
Mm-hmm.
You have, folks with their faces showing, and I just thought this was just okay.
Yeah. I thought with this panel right here, it's funny that you pulled this up because this one really puts me in mind of Beauty and the Beast from Disney.
Hmm.
So I would agree with you. Yeah, I don't disagree. What are we looking at here, George?
Okay, in this case, this was an example of issue 3 where I thought something might have been wrong with the printing process. I know it can't be shown on screen, but something happened in issue 3, especially towards the center of it, where the colors just seemed off. They weren't as vibrant on issue 3 as they were on 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, you can't necessarily see this on screen. This is just a photo from my phone, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. I'd be curious to see if other folks who have picked up the books and are listening to this review had the same issue. Was it perhaps just a misprint on my book and nothing else? I really don't know.
Mm-hmm. And what do we got here?
Well, this was just the finale of the third issue, which did leave me wanting to know more. So I did appreciate that. And I wanted to make sure I mentioned that in there. It wasn't like issue 3 ended on just like this massive cliffhanger. I am willing to wait, but I do want to know what's going on. So
Okay.
the character here, I don't want to give away too much. I feel bad. We should have said spoiler alerts, but the
No, I'll
character's
put it
daughter,
in the title. It's fine.
great. The character's daughter was kidnapped, and after issue 3, she's still missing.
Hmm.
But things have happened to her that I didn't expect. I thought most of the story kind of went along as I would have expected based on everything I've heard Professor Murph say, whether it was from the campaign he was running or when he was advertising it. But there was a few things that happened near the very end to her. And I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what they're going to go with this.
Right. All right.
What did you
So what do
think?
you of the art?
Mm-hmm.
You hit everything. I mean, I thought when so you were talking about the page before we looked at being a little dark, and
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you. But the problem is it's every scene where it's dark, it's the colors are like that. So I'm not sure. Maybe the correct word is needs more contrast or contrasting or a light source. I'm not sure, but I would agree where when he has a page or a scene where it takes place in the dark, things do get a little muddy. Um, I I I would say, and then even like so, you had this panel here, this page here,
Mm-hmm.
and this panel here. It really kind of, I mean, again, you get to his strengths and his weaknesses, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that bottom right panel kind of it kind of breaks the immersion a little bit, because actually all in all, like, this is a good story by Murph. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just little things like that where it breaks the immersion, where you look at her face, the girl's face, and compared to, like, let's look at this Native American guy's face, and this is realistic and this is very cartoony.
We always talk about how when a book isn't properly edited and there's a lot of spelling errors or grammatical errors, it takes you out of the story. Now,
Hmm.
in this case, I didn't see anything like that. But as you're saying, there was other moments where maybe things weren't drawn as well or something was off, and that took you out of the story.
Right.
It goes to show you that really everything is important when you're trying to make a comic book. It's not just one thing. It all kind of needs to work together.
Hmm. What do you give the art, George?
I gave it a C.
Oof, I give it probably a B.
Okay.
So I give it a little bit more. It's just because I love the backgrounds. I love when they're in the woods. Like, he did such an exceptional job. And I don't think we talked about that. But look here in this middle panel. Look at the woods they're in, George. And they
Hmm.
got the grass, and he does this on almost every panel. So I'm going to give him credit for that. And that really does help with the immersion of feeling like, look, I felt like I was in a holler in West Virginia half the time. you
I
know?
do I do think the best is yet to come when the full war party is assembled and they're all in their totem phases. I think we're going to see some great stuff, but unfortunately this was human heavy, I guess for lack of a better word, and it
Hmm.
just wasn't my favorite. I'm sticking with the C on that
That's
one.
fine. Let's get into quality. What did you think, George?
These were 3 saddle stitch, so staple bound books. Uh,
Hmm.
I know that the standard is for $25. You get a 48-page prestige format book, or square bound, however you want to call it. But for the price that we paid, the satin finish pages, even though they're staple bound, I thought they were fine. I had no problem with it whatsoever. Uh, like I said, I did notice a printing error in book 3. I thought the color was lacking. I could be wrong on that. I did take that into consideration with the art, not with the book quality. I'm just thinking about the paper stock and all that kind of stuff. I was fine with it based on what I paid for it.
Hmm.
How about you?
Well, here's an example of what went wrong for my. This is book 2.
Hmm.
You would say this is blurry. Check your camera. That's not camera. That's the book. So I had multiple. I'm going to call them runs, George, where it
Hmm.
feels like there was too much uh, ink laid onto the pages. So there's like ridges. I don't know what in the world you would call them, but there's
Hmm.
like 4 or 5 pages I have where it's like the weight of the page isn't meant to carry. Or I don't know. I'm not a printer guy. I just
Did you have
know.
a rippling effect on those pages?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I had that as well. I kind of forgot about it until you started mentioning that. I only had it for one issue, issue 3. But yeah,
Hmm.
right in the center of the book, there was some rippling of the pages. I did notice that.
Yeah. So, and like you said, we're so used to when we back these books, are usually, like I always say, quality is usually an A. And this time, it's not so much. It's not even close to like some of the other CG books we get. So, um, yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Now, does this break the story? No, it doesn't break the. It doesn't make. But I mean, it is noticeable, right? So,
So what would you grade the book quality at?
I'd give it a C,
Okay,
and
you're
I'm usually like an A.
uh,
I give everything from CG an A. So I'm pretty that that's. I would suggest a Murph, and I think he's happy with the way he's going. He's got things, and that's fine. But you could have taken these first three issues and put them in a better form, like a more prestige format, and then broke them up for floppies because the pages and everything are already done.
mhm.
That's what I would suggest.
It would have been quite a bit, though. I think each book is roughly 30 pages. So the first issue would have been like 90. I guess it would have been done. We've seen other 90+ page books.
Hmm.
It could have been done. It could have been. I actually gave the book quality a C plus. I don't give everything a C like an A like you do. In the past I've varied on that. If I'm
Hmm.
getting what I'm expecting, I'm giving it a C. I actually thought this was a little bit better than I expected. I kind of forgot about the ripple effect. But even with all that, I did like the paper stock and the quality. Based on the fact that we got 30+ page books, I thought the book quality was a C plus.
Hmm. What would you give the book altogether?
Overall, I gave it a B minus.
Yeah, that's where I'm at B minus. So, would you? I mean, we are going to get the second three issues, obviously.
Hmm.
But if the second three issues are what we had in the first three issues, would you back Murph again?
I'm not sure. I can tell you I'm expecting more just because the meat of the story, the action is coming. So in that aspect of it, I think it's going to suit his strengths. So I
So,
think when we go over those next three issues, I think it'll be a much different review. Based on this review right now, it would be on a case by case basis. I wouldn't say yes or no.
so let me ask you this then: if it was just these three issues that we backed,
Mm-hmm.
would you get the second three issues?
No.
Mm, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he has a story here. I enjoyed it. There's some stuff, and maybe he'll get better with the faces. That's not, like you said, that's not everybody's strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
The quality for me, it's kind of ouch for me. That's like my biggest kind of gripe is the quality, because we're so used to getting such high quality, at least the physical book and then the pages or whatever. That's kind of to get to see that kind of it's like ouch a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I don't know what else to say. So, but we both give it a B minus. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that's a quality score. I am looking forward to the next review, and I want to go back and listen to this again once we review the next one, just to see if I'm right that I think the scores will indeed be better.
Hmm. For everybody who generally watches our reviews, I believe I gave um, Sovereign Wolf a B minus too. So there you go.
Nice.
So George, you got warts and all, and I got warts and all. So that's probably going to be next for us, I'd imagine.
And we're going to be expecting the Lucent soon as well.
And
Lots of
Graveyard
things coming in the mail.
That's right. That's right. So we will talk to you guys later, probably with the warts and all review here, maybe next week. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.